What's good, everybody? It's your boy TBT, aka the Brainless Trader, and we are currently live observing the markets. We have a move that I'm looking at. We just had some price action in the market. We had an hourly fair value gap here that price came up into, did not close past, and now looks like it's on its way down. Has some sort of a breaker here, high, low, higher high, lowest down close candle, which price has come back up into, and now looks like it's running off. So I'm going to use these two down close candles on the 5 minutes and just observe. So price did come up into this area. There's a fair value gap across from it. I like all of that. And then sell side liquidity. First sell side liquidity would be here. And now we also are going to be looking at probably here. So we already got the first sell side liquidity, which was this. And now we're going to be looking for the next one if price continues to give way. And we had some significant news at 2 a.m., which price is now pricing in. So if it just runs to this next area, then it may be too late for the morning session. But at least we know that the move is here. So in the future, we can take advantage of it. Welcome to the London morning markets. If you've never been to my channel, my name is the Brainless Trader, aka TBT, or TBT, aka the Brainless Trader. That's what I refer to myself as on the internet as far as trading goes. And I am a former supporting resistance trader who was blessed to be able to get into ICT's mentorship in 2021. Studied under him that whole year and have been studying under him since in the charter group. And was blessed to be able to become a charter member and still receive, his teachings and ideas as the market does what it does. I kind of actually like this area as a sell side liquidity too, because I don't know, I think this overall area was like my overall, this area, all these relative equal lows. I think that area looks like it could be something, because now you have another breaker forming, high, low, higher, high. If we go to the 3 minute, you can see that probably more clearly. So right now I would be looking for price to come up into this area. We've already crossed this 5 minute breaker. 5 minute breaker. There-ish. And now we've got a 3 minute breaker here. Mostly what I like to do as far as ICT's concepts is just see what's available in the market. I look to engage when there's a run on liquidity first and foremost, which you can see we had on the higher time frames with this run right here. And then on the higher time frame in the hour, we didn't finish past this fair value gap zone, which is now the second touch to the fair value gap zone. This is an hourly fair value gap. So let's tabulate that. And so, when you have a run on liquidity like this is relatively equal highs, a high, previous high, previous highs, previous highs, all areas that people could have had their stops, set. When you have that, you get a run on liquidity like this. Typically, if you come back down in the same direction as the overall trend, you have some really nice moves, and I like to see if the breakers will form because at least in GU it gives me a good indication of what's going on in price, and then I can take it from there. What? Why is it doing that? All right. Um. So yeah, I am now looking to see if price will reach this fair value gap zone or not in this breaker zone. Um. I'll just go with the lowest down close candle instead of the two, since this fair value gap is literally just this area. So that's what we're observing, and you already saw me look into our liquidity levels to the left as potential targets. I missed the initial entry, which would have been here. This is the initial entry. Um, I've seen ICT take entries, and it's interesting because this is actually an entry up here too. This is actually high, low, higher, high on the 3 minute. Look at that. All right, let's look at the 1 minute and see. Okay, so I'm going to engage now that I'm seeing what I want to see out of price. Um, Not too big of a stop loss. Let's have some fun with the lot size since this is a demo. Oh, well, let's see what price does here. Because I may have wanted to wait for this candlestick to finish before entering this trade. But to be safe, my stop will be placed above this breaker zone in conjunction with the breaker, in conjunction with the fair value gap on the 3 minute. If you go back to the 3 minute, gotta remember what chart you're on too, because the minute is going to be up and down. It's going to show every little detail. But what I'm focused on is this fair value gap zone here. This red zone is just my Asian session zone. I like to use the Asian session to get a I use the Asian session to get like the 12 a.m. open and match that up with my trades. I gotta find my 12 a.m. open um, purple bar. I don't know where that's at. It should have been somewhere around here. Anyways, I can just make another one. But that looks nice on the hour chart. That looks nice. So 12 a.m. open would be here. 12 a.m. open, 12 a.m. open. Yes, that's the 12 a.m. open, this bar here. And then I'm going to make it purple because that's what I like to make my 12 a.m. open bars. And then I'm just going to say, so ICT has a concept that he likes to match his 12 a.m. open with the Asian session along with other PD arrays, and that just adds a little bit more confluence, to the situation, whatever you're trading. And I like it too because now I know my 12 a.m. open kind of matches with this area, which I said was going to be my initial entry in that first initial breaker, right? So now me having the entry here, I can show the executions. I'm still going along those same lines and saying that we haven't gone too far from the initial entry in order for me to get my daily, couple $1,000s. It's really just a goal for me personally. Ideally, I'd like to have a larger funded account to be able to go like 10 lot on some of these trades where I know I have a nice entry, because I know that I can get out at 10 to 20 pips or 30 pips and have a you know $1 to $2 to $3,000 day, which is amazing. Just for a week. Let's just say you just do that 3 weeks in a row. That's 9K for the month. That's eating good. So the baby's in the background. But yeah, so now we're observing this. I typically look for GU moves first. If I can see a GU move that forms with the structure and price action that I like, then I will take it. The other markets that I look at the DXY to compare. Um, so we can do that while this trade is on. I'll get the DXY to compare. And you want the DXY to be going up as price is going down in foreign currency. And you have a little bit of that. Um, Seems like this hour bar is fighting. It's about to be over though, so we'll see what the next hour bar holds. Um, in general, I don't really see exactly what besides this fair value gap here. The price has already moved past it. So I don't see the exact reciprocal pricing that I would want to see, like a breaker in the DXY to tell me that the breaker in GU is exactly what I want. Nevertheless, I see what I need to see in GU to stay in it and test out my theory. Now, GJ looks like a similar type of move where price ran out liquidity here. You're gonna back up a lot for GJ because I need to see, yeah, see this chop. I'm not messing with that. GJ's still pretty bullish, anyways. But this chop, I don't like it. I would rather have trade something like this. Rather trade something like this. It's a breaker. You go to lower time frames, you find entries right there. Right, random liquidity here. Another breaker forms, you find entries here. Right. Um, this coming to a fair value gap runoff. I have a thought process that hey, okay, touch the fair value gap, ran off this week, you're going to the upside, right? But this, I don't want to have nothing to do with that because that is unsurety in the market. And if I can't have an exact move, ICT tells us to stop. And that is what I'm working on. Now, there's some nice liquidity here, right? Some people might think that that's support. And they might jam this down here just to bring it back up. I could see that happening. I think I'd rather be an observer, though, in that move. Because this ain't really clear. Ain't really like easy pickings. I'm sorry for the got the mood light on here. Y'all can't really see my face, but it's 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so can't expect me to be in a suit and tie right now. This is London trading, and I don't live in London. So gold, I'm not really. Let's see what we see. Let's go back. Let's go back it up. Oh, you know what though? I have been liking the gold like daily time frame. You know, if you look, got that same breaker action. High, low, higher high, lowest down close candle, just barely. This one. And the breaker with the fair value gap across from it, which activates it. And what I'm expecting over the next couple days is something to trade back up into here and then more downside if it is what I think it is. But the fact that we broke this structure to me tells me that we could be on something in gold. But that I think that move's gonna have to wait. I mean, it's in the breaker now, technically, you know what I'm saying? So it would be great if it just like crumbled further, but it's not been like a legitimate run on liquidity, and I think I would rather wait for that. So I've learned a lot of lessons by not waiting for that. And then oil, this is a new one that I'm just getting into, like uh, having an opinion about. I watched the ICT trader interview where ICT interviewed one of his uh, traders who was born in Nashville, but he's living out of Iraq, I think, right now or something. And he talked about how crude oil was really some like a really a pair that he like really enjoyed trading. because it didn't waste any time getting to where it needed to go. And I'm looking at this like, high, low, high breaker, close down, close candles, and fair value gap, touch the fair value gap, run off. Order block, fair value gap, run off. Like, that's nice. You feel me? And that's after a run on liquidity. So you just need that higher time frame run on liquidity first, and then you kind of have that here, run on liquidity, and then you got the fair value gap. It's not so much of a breaker here, but still, it's some nice price action. It's not too clunky. But as far as like the daily, there's been no run on liquidity, right? So I'm not trying to just jump into something here where there's not really nothing to jump into. So I'm still studying this. And this is a nice fair value gap here and all. Low, high, or low, high, not a lower low. It's kind of close. The body is lower low. Highs up close candle. This wick, use the extra long wick as my zone. Cross on the fair value gap. I mean, you can make a case for a trade. Where would my targets be if I were to make a trade in this? That's the thing. I want to have a target that's kind of like obvious, and there's not really one. This is a 2-hour chart. That's super humongous fair value gap. I mean, and then there's highs, right? There's a recent high here and here. So maybe, but there ain't nothing. It ain't nothing like how GU is looking currently. Now we're still in the battle here. It's kind of figuring itself out. Take it down to the 5-minute again and zoom into this area that we have tabulated. Computer. It's running a little bigger now. Yeah. So I got some moving to the upside. Hey, buddy. You good? You gotta use the bathroom? Alright. I'm gonna be quiet and observe for a while, and we'll see if my theory is right. So. Pretty substantial run right now. See what it does in this fair value gap. That's one thought process that I'm having now, is to potentially wait for it to come back into this fair value gap before making a decision on entering a trade. I'm okay with where I entered, just seeing that, starting to formulate that price action that I like to see. But this will be a true telltale sign of whether or not it's ready. If it, whatever it does within this area, right? So if I turn off my Asian range monitoring, let's just turn off the zone, yeah. Then we pretty much have first sell side liquidity hit, a fair value gap zone, I like to make them yellow, and recently I've been turning them green once they're validated. So we'll see if this fair value gap is validated. It's going to be yellow until then, though. Stop is set right above the fair value gap and the breaker zone here. We're going to see. the price has to offer. Does it want to take me out? Looks like it does. A lot of times you can set your stop over the most recent high as well. But I think a safe bet is just setting it above the breaker zone and above the fair value gap. If it runs it, then, the idea wasn't what it should be. And it could still run it and then come back in my favor as well. So that's why I say I want to have a larger account when I'm trading live, because I'd like to be able to withstand, this type of loss and then get back right into the trade if I need to. Sometimes I tell myself, well, maybe I'll start off with a one lot, or something like that. That's like low hanging, like not some skin in the game, not too much. But I think regardless of what I start with, the main thing is, wait for price to test the fair value gap truly, right? Similar to how I did this one. It came back up into this 5-minute breaker and the fair value gap. We traded right up into it. It's probably looking pretty bullish right there, and then melted. So as it's melting, that's an entry. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm setting my stops above that high just because that's where I entered, right? Or you can set it above the fair value gap. So similarly with this, it looks pretty bullish, but I wouldn't be surprised if it melted just because of the way that price action is so close to these sell side liquidity pools, and it's showing structure, to be able to be broken. In the same token, I wouldn't be surprised if it ran me out and then continued down in the direction that I wanted as well. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, as far as just like getting up and being in the London session and understanding it more. That's one thing that ICT's talked about a lot. It's just like how he wants us to be tape reading. Like when we're just watching his lives, he doesn't want us to be executing, just like understanding how to read price, And I feel like a lot of that stuff you have to do on your own too. And that's the one thing I feel like I haven't done enough. Even though I've traded live, you see my videos, I've done challenges, I've passed the first part of an FTMO challenge, but not the second part. And it's kind of like, you wonder what's missing. What do I need to work on that would allow me to get over the hump? Like, what is it? Because it's got to be something that I'm not doing. My thought process, my psychology, and so that's what I've been working on a lot. Is my psychology, my thought process. Not entering trades with lots that are so big that you feel like right now, I feel like I want to take this trade out because it doesn't look like a winning trade. And then in the same breath, like, where you're getting too excited if the trade's going your way. Like, you hear my voice, I'm literally just looking to see what price is going to do. It looks like it's going to run me out. Now I want to know, are you going to turn back around? Because I just saw a flicker to the sell side. The one thing that we do have on the docket today as far as news is a 5:30 announcement, a Fed announcement from Governor Bailey, which could definitely swing the market. He's got two speeches today, 5:30 and 9. So, and then there's a U.S. Fed speech and FOMC minutes, but all of those are later. So that's why I'm thinking, structure, price actions, price structure, whatever you want to call it, should hold up, before that. But obviously, we know that it can be manipulated even now in anticipation of those announcements. And this is typically why when these announcements are in the market, especially on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, it's like the turning point of the week, right? And so they run price in a direction it wasn't already going, or they continue it, but they run people's stops out big time, especially GU. So, as I have already shown, I'm not favorable of any of the other pairs, and I honestly just want to see where this particular bar is going to close for me to be able to visualize what's going to happen next. So I'm going to take all this lipstick off the chart because I know what I'm looking at, and I can see price a little bit clearer this way. Well, y'all can at least. Just want to see what it's going to do. So I'm going to be quiet and observe again. And then if it does crumble into the direction that I want, I'm going to take a smaller trade just to probe and see. I try to model my demo trading as much as I would my live trading. And if I were to lose 1,600 in my live trading already, then I would probably be cautious about getting into another trade because I don't want to lose 3,000. You know what I'm saying? So if I get into another trade, it's probably going to be like a lower lot size. And then if price continues to crumble, then I can get into my higher lot size trades. So we shall see. I'll be quiet for a little bit. So, currently still observing this breaker down here. We've already had the high time frame breaker and run on liquidity up here. We chose this area as a breaker and we see price test it, traded off of it, and then price has already hit a short term sell side liquidity pool. Currently looking to see if price will run further than this breaker area here, this low, and this fair value gap, which is already closed past the fair value gap. So now I'm backing off a little bit. If I were to enter again, I'd enter one lot because that way my loss wouldn't be so high, but I still have some skin in the game to target potential lows if price does respect this breaker. Looks to be respecting this fair value gap still. And it's okay for it to touch the fair value gap a couple times, once or twice. 3 times is a little bit too much for me. And that's what ICT talks about too, is not allowing it to touch more than 3. Once you start getting price to come up to a fair value gap a third time, then, kind of pressing your luck. So the fact that it's already closed past this fair value gap for me, even though it hasn't closed past the breaker, I would have wanted it to stay below this. If I look at the 15 minutes, it's kind of not really obvious. It's got some buy side movement. Look at the 3 minute. So we're just look at the 1 minute. It's not, you do have price coming up into this fair value gap a little bit and running off. So we'll see if price doesn't close past that breaker zone. And I'll be willing to get into a 1 lot or so. But that's a logic for this trade. Just using ICT's breaker and trying to see if price wants to take liquidity to the downside. I think that if we don't get it, that whatever manipulation and extraness that's going to happen in the market today due to the Fed announcement that's coming up soon, 5:30 and later at 9, probably will have to do with some inefficient deliveries or manipulated price delivery in today's market. But I did enter here hoping to have price respect this fair value gap zone, which is closed above, right? And my stop was placed above the breaker, which is already ran out. So I am currently just waiting on more information. But yeah, just wanted to, begin to properly come out on here and trade/tape read live to get more, I guess, in game. You could say practice, just making sure that I'm executing the way I should be. I feel like for some people, trading live can be negative if they're worried about what people think. But for me, it's just more so of a way for me to refine my skills and, honestly, to get in front of the market, because I'll get up and I'll trade on my own, but this also gives me something to look back at and kind of grade myself on as well. So just observing here, trying to see what exactly price wants to do. It looks like it's going to invalidate this thought process. So I'm probably going to leave this alone and just tape read until we get outside of my kill zone, which is 3 to 5. I use ICT's kill zones. He technically says like 2 to 5 or something like that. But for me, I've noticed in my trading that if I wait a little bit after 2, also if I can get some sleep until 3, then 3 to 5, usually something will form, right? And so you look at this, the news came into the market at 2, right? And none of this had formed. Now, if I had been up at 2:45, 3, I could have got into this trade. There's a breaker here with a fair value gap. I could have got into this trade, right? Breaker here, high, low, high. Most time closed candles. Could have got in right there. and been good, honestly, been good for the day. Talking about two moves that could go potentially 20 pips or so. 20 pips. And then another move that could go 20-ish pips had I entered up here somewhere, right? So that is a solid meal right there. So that's why I'm working on really just being on time to the market, knowing what I'm looking for, and if I see what I want, then go for it, go after it. But just continue to observe. We'll probably take it until 5. I'm gonna just be silent and observe price. Taper, yeah, observe price. All right. Yep. So looking at what the chart has done now, I was anticipating, hoping for price to respect this fair value gap zone, this high, low, higher high IC2 breaker, but it hasn't, right? I entered here, was hoping that this would hold up, right? Was looking for it to hold up, but price traded past this zone, closed past it. I let it run my stops that was just above this breaker zone, and was waiting for more information, but now I'm good, right? Because I don't like that it didn't respect the fair value gap, and now that it's gone back up to this zone, which was an initial potential entry, I think that suggests to me that I don't need to be in the trade anymore, and I can just watch from the sideline. So I will be just observing and just trying to see, okay, what will price do? Will it still come down to my initial targets? What does it really want to do? Um, because it could come up in this fair value gap area, and then all of a sudden just run that down, um, which it kind of looks like it's doing right now. Um, and it can definitely do that. Second touch the fair value gap, so that wouldn't be an issue. Yeah, we got it. Okay, so we'll see. Let's see where this candle closes first, and then If it closes pretty below this, then I'd be fine with taking a trade. The problem with entering, like when you see it like this, is you're excited about entering because you're like, yeah, it's going down, and then that thing gonna look right back all the way back to the top. So I would rather wait, especially now that I've already taken the trade, got stopped out, right? I would rather wait for extreme confirmation. Like, give me a closing candle, then I want that next candle to trade up, touch that order block, right? And then I can get in. This would be the second touch. Okay, we got to close. That's good. Touch the order block for me, please. Let's tabulate this zone. This is a fair value gap zone here. Might as well just use the one that I already have. This was a fair value gap, but now it's not. So I'm going to move it up here. This is a fair value gap. Did we touch the order block? Look at that. Bang, bang. All right. Now I can take a trade to the downside. Again, it's going to be lower lot size, right? Because we've already taken a trade today that was on the wrong side. So lower lot size, just for proof of concept. I'm fine with that. Now, my only thought process now would be, gotta get out before this news comes in the market. You feel me? You gotta get out before the news comes in the market. Um, Only because it's the Fed, right? It's the ops, and the ops, they always want their cash. And they willing to do whatever it takes to get that cash. So stops comfortably set at about 20 pips, 19 pips. And this is why I like trading you, because I like how I can just like set them biscuits. You feel me? I like how I can set my stops real nice. All right, now I'm just gonna be quiet and observe. I've been talking when people hop onto it, but I don't need to talk the whole time. I'd rather observe and be quiet. So I'm gonna be quiet now and see if price proves me right. Or if I'm not proves me right, but if I'm in line, with order flow. And also proves me right. Alright, I'm gonna end my tape reading session. Price looks like it's reacting to this fair value gap high. I'd like it. So I'm gonna leave that trade in that I have and just see what happens. But I get ready to take me a little nap in preparation for my day. So y'all have a good one. Thanks for joining. Catch y'all on the next one.